It's the tune of the month. I'm so glad you found me. I'm Shannon Heaton, and every month I give you a new tune to learn. For 2018, I'm going to feature tunes from my Irish Music Stories podcast. This is the show about traditional music and the bigger stories behind it. Also, I'm going to play the tune first, and then I'll get into teaching it. Hope this is helpful. Hope you enjoy, and thanks so much for tuning in to the tune of the month. This month it's the Galway Rambler. Thinking of all those Galway and Clare people that Joni Madden talked about in this month's Irish Music Stories podcast. I hope you'll tune in. It's a great listen all about the dance hall scene in New York and Boston and Providence in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. So I'll play the Galway Rambler a few times around, and then I'm going to talk about playing it with ease and relaxation as I break it down phrase by phrase. So Solvi wrote in to request an episode about posture. And if anybody is experiencing a little bit of tension or fatigue or pain in the left hand and shoulder, or even in the right hand or elsewhere, what a great thing to be aware of. Step one is to be aware of it. So you're on the right path already, Solvi, and thank you for asking the question. Now, as somebody who has learned to cultivate a bit of stillness and calm within, I can speak to this, I think, a bit, in that it really helps me if I start from the bottom, literally, if I start from my feet and my butt on the seat. If I really can feel those two making contact with the earth, making contact with the chair, so I'm recruiting bigger muscles to just help support some of our smaller, finer muscles that we're recruiting when we're playing. I think that can be really helpful. Awareness of how things are feeling. These are two great foundations and easy to put into place for all of us. So feet on the floor, butt on the chair, or if you're standing, just really feeling that long, neutral spine and just checking in and being aware before we even pick up our flutes. How's it all feeling? Maybe a nice deep breath. And then maybe one more where we really try to fill in down low and up high. So down, and then we're fully full of air, and then we let it out completely, but we stay upright as we exhale. Okay, so we've got a foundation, feet on the floor, butt on the chair. We're just tuning in. We have our awareness turned on. And then we've got our breathing tuned on. So probably circulation, breathing, awareness. These are the key elements of staying loose and relaxed. Now, as for posture, if you've got that neutral spine to start out with, you're in good shape. So even before you start, make sure all that is in place. Hold the flute in front of you as if it were a clarinet. Now I'm feeling it balanced here on my chin. I'm feeling my left thumb kind of stabilizing the flute a little bit. I'm feeling my right thumb maybe, and also the crook of my hand stabilizing a little bit. Maybe even my pinky is resting here. I rest my pinky here, not on the key. And that's doing a little bit of stabilizing, but most of the stabilizing is happening here on my chin. Where the flute hits my chin. So I'm bringing it on slowly in slow motion over. Now a little bit of adjustment has to happen in order for me to bring it over, but I'm trying for the least amount of adjustment going from clarinet position to flute position as possible. I'm noticing, boy, things do need to happen in my left shoulder in order to get me there. And so I'm just dropping the left shoulder just a little bit, and I'm just sending comfort and ease, and I'm doing the least amount necessary to bring it up there. And then I'm playing my nice foundational G, the key in which the Galway Rambler sits. All right, so behind all of that, my feet are on the ground, my butt is on the seat. I've got air, good amount of air behind that G, and I'm just aware of bringing things over, doing the least amount of harm to my body and the least amount of contorting necessary to bring my flute into playing position. And I start with that G, and I learn and I play all my tunes like this, maybe. Paying attention to how each note feels. So maybe an A part of a tune that you know very well. Do it in slow motion and just notice. It's okay if there's tightness. It's okay if you're gripping. Notice it. Then put the flute down. Maybe just dissolve some of that extra effort, and then see about starting again from the ground up. Feet on the ground, butt on the seat. Nice big breath of air, and hold that flute in front of you. Be aware of how things are feeling. Be aware of that neutral spine, and then bring it on over to flute playing position and fill up that first phrase of the Galway Rambler. Now through that whole first phrase, the air is constant. That's sort of maybe at the heart of playing with relaxation, and that's the most telling sign of whether or not we're getting pinched or not, is if things get pinched in here, in our throats, in our mouths, in the place where we make the embouchure and the place where we funnel out all that easy air. It can be as easy as that, as just bringing out the air. So here's the Galway Rambler, phrase by phrase. As you learn it as easily as you can. Learn it with as much ease as you can in your body. And that's probably how you'll eventually play the tune. Here's one phrase. Your turn, da 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 da, G roll, D B A G E F. Breathe. Your turn, da da, breathe, da da dee da da dee 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 doo. Third verse. Your turn. Lots of options of where to breathe in that A part, but I was breathing after the B's, building in a really sensible and a really forgiving breathing pattern for yourself when you first learn a tune. That's a great way in to playing with ease, because you're not stressed about running out of air, and you have enough air to keep those long, fluid, easy phrases. Here's the B part. Your turn, da dee dee da da dee doo doo da 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 dee dee doo. Da da dee dee da dee da da da. Third phrase. Da 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 dee doo da da. So when I was singing, that's your chance to play, but maybe ideally to sing first before you go into playing it. So that's the final component maybe today about playing with ease. If you really know a tune and you're not grasping for how does that tune go while you're playing it, if you've already learned it by ear and you know it in your head, it's a lot less for your body to manage. Hope that some of those ideas can be helpful. Hope you enjoy the Galway Rambler. Please check out the Dance Hall Days episode of Irish Music Stories. And thanks for tuning in. See you next month at the Tune of the Month.